a lot of the very common, agreed upon beliefs that have held the culture together for the first 200 years have been fairly badly damaged and brought into question.
Kids are out in the streets, they're learning from their peers or from the media, and more often than not, particularly the ones that struggle, have an absence of someone instilling in them moral values.
They don't appear to me to have the same benefit that I have of a stable home environment. So they start off with one strike.
Our children are up against issues having to do with ethics, morals, and values. And drugs play into that. Sex activity before they're ready contributes to a large increase in infection rate among young people. And they're also up against moral confusion in our community.
If you don't set the moral code for them, then it's their rules, it's their society, and it's not the society that I want to see following me.
My name is Barbara A. Ash, and I'm the co-founder with my husband Robert of an organization called the Concerned Businessmen's Association of America. One of our most successful programs is a children's program called the Children's Set a Good Example Competition. It's a contest that gets kids involved in using a moral code booklet called The Way to Happiness. Purely common sense, purely something anyone can use, and the wonderful part about it is it works. The way I found this alley was in a very intense discussion with a public official who was going to spend $2 million to prevent gang violence in the city of Los Angeles. And he felt that spending the money by having people drive through the area and spot potential violence would be the solution. And I felt that we should do some prevention. I actually challenged him and said, would you please give me a gang member and I will show you what a moral code can do. So he did. And I ended up with a young man who had been arrested about 50 times, was much, much bigger than I am. And I asked him to bring me down to this alley and introduce me to his gang buddies, and he did that. Before too long, we had 60 gang youth involved in removing graffiti prior to the 1984 Olympics, and they all came out of this alley, and they were all reading moral code with me. And I'm proud to say that as a result of what happened in this alley, we created a anti-graffiti project. We created a mural which went to the city as a gift that actually proposed that everyone start setting a good example. So the Children's Set a Good Example campaign has become a solution as far as I'm concerned, and a workable one. And the reason it works is because it started out with young people deciding to read a moral code that they liked. And one of the reasons they liked it is because it didn't preach, it didn't make them wrong, it just told them the truth. And when they started applying that truth and saw it worked, they decided to share it with their friends. And that's what Set a Good Example is all about. So what they do is they read a common sense moral code called The Way to Happiness by a fellow by the name of L. Ron Hubbard, who was a pretty great educator. And what they do is they then take what they've learned from that book and they go and apply it. And pretty soon we had a campaign going. It started out with 17 children in Compton, California. And it's grown, and it's grown, and it's grown till we've been in over 11,000 schools. Over 12 million children have participated, and a lot of them are better because they now know the difference between right and wrong. And that's what setting a good example is all about. There are actually 11 judges in that room right now, and as they each judge one project, then they pass it on to the next person on their right. And inside the package that they receive is a project report and a judge's tally sheet. And that tally sheet is used to issue points to young people who have done very special projects that set a good example for their peers. The people that are in that room include people like Superior Court Judge, a doctor of veterinarian medicine. We also have a woman with an advertising agency, a famous advertising agency. We have a police officer who's with community affairs for a local police department. We have a woman who is the aide to a U.S. Congresswoman. We also have some celebrities amongst us as well. Nancy Cartwright, for instance, who's the voice of Bart Simpson, has joined us today for about the 5th time in her career of judging this particular contest.
All the judges that read these testimonials from these kids, you could be moved to tears, and you can, I'm laughing a lot because it's some of the things that they came up with and how they went about doing it, it's incredibly moving.
As you read through the projects and essays, the personalities of the varied contestants come alive, and you really are touched by some of the stories and some of the experiences that the youth share. And it leaves one with a feeling of great hope that some, that people as young as some of these candidates have had those kinds of experiences and are trying to influence the world in a really positive way.
Gives me faith that there is some hope for the youth today, and it's a good program. I'm very pleased with what I saw today, and I will look into it further.
I like the part where it said caring for others. So I did a toy, book, and video drive, and I donated it to the Valley Baptist Medical Center, and that's the hospital, the Ronald McDonald House, and the Family Emergency Assistance Center. We had a lot of hand-me-downs that my sister really didn't use, so after she was finished with them, we donated them all to our 3 different charities. And then the rest of it, my school helped. They brought brought 50 every day. It was great.
We became involved with the Set a Good Example contest. My wife actually, is more involved with the kids a lot than I am because I'm working a lot. But she found out about the Set a Good Example contest in Harlingen, and then got Lauren involved in it.